Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Bashem Rakak Wadash. My name is Jacob from Plain Tables Camp in Philly. This is Ezekiel 4:12, and thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of man in their sight. In their sight. So you was going to eat shit and herbs in the form of a cake in the sight of all Israel. Ezekiel 4:13. And Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will scatter them. All right, and that's come to pass today. So instead of man's dung, he substituted it with cow's dung. And thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. All right. We look up Defiled. You have H2931. H2931. It's Tamah, I think. Yeah, Tamah. It's unclean, impure, ethically, religiously, ritually. Unclean, impure. All right. So I'll put in genetic engineering food in America, and genetic engineering using radiation. And this is what I got. This is National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information. I'm just going to skim through this. Past and present classical radiation mutation breeding. Radiation was suggested as a mutagen since Mueller demonstrated that exposure to X-rays can cause genetic mutations in 1928. I don't know who Mueller is. I don't know who Sadler is. If you care to know, you can do that research. After Sadler first published papers on mutation induced by irradiation in maize and barley, it's corn. Barley is a herb. Says radiation has been widely applied to develop new cultivars used for crop production and as genetic resources compared to other breeding methods. All right, let's go here. Let's look at this chart. Other mutagens, X-rays, gamma rays. And what do these do? They make the plant resistant to certain bugs and diseases. And according to the FDA, this has no effect on us. I don't believe that. So this would be not organic. All right. So apparently in the 80s, they were using a lot of other mutagens, X-rays and gamma rays to create mutations. All right, the mutagenesis mechanism under classical radiation mutation breeding. So I guess this is saying this is originally the original GMOs were done by radiation before they got into like manipulating the DNA through other means. And well, hopefully, I think we have a little video on a newer method. If not, then let's play what I have. All right, radiation induced by DNA damage. The process of radiation mutation breeding begins with interactions between radiation and DNA, including the direct structural and functional changes to DNA molecules via radiation energy and indirect damage by free radicals generated through interactions between water molecules and ionizing radiation. All right, and go back to this chart. Hope you can see that chart. All right. So, according to this chart, using radiation for GMOs has fallen off. See, it's about the 2000s started to fall off. All right. So they use the new method. And radiation, lightning bolt, mutation Genomic instability. Seedlings 1, seedlings 2, seedlings 3. So that's that chart there. All right. I think that's all I had underlined. Oh, we have one more. In general, medium and high energy particles are considered to penetrate the target material, which is a seed, whereas low energy particles cannot penetrate the target material, which is commonly referred to as ion implantation. All right, so you need high energy. That way, that would kill a person. Then it gives you the laboratories where it was first used. This is why the Lord Yahweh, all right, he said that we eat our bread defiled among the Gentiles. All right, let's go back up to that date chart. So, and animals eat these genetically modified organisms. So, registered mutant varieties in the IAEA. Yeah, I believe if you use radiation in any capacity, you have to register it with the IAEA. I think it's the Atomic Agency. We can look that up. IAEA. I think that got something to do with the radiation agency. I say IAEA. IAEA. International Atomic Energy Agency. Yeah, so you got to be registered with them guys if you use any form of radiation in your company. Headquarters, Vienna, Austria. All right, so let's go to this FDA website, U.S. Food and Drug Administration, GMO crops, animal food, and beyond. So we're still eating our bread defiled. Yeah, the bull, chicken, the pig, and the fish. Am I eating foods that come from GMO crops? It is very likely you are eating foods and food produced that are made with ingredients that come from GMO crops. Many GMO crops are used to make ingredients that Americans eat, such as cornstarch, corn, syrup, corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, or granulated sugar. I don't eat none of that shit. If I eat a processed food, then it might contain one of those things in it, and I tend not to eat processed foods. Food that's in the box in the freezer or at a fast food place like a Wawa or a Chick-fil-A. A few fresh fruit and vegetables are available in GMO varieties, including potatoes, summer squash, apples, papayas, and pink pineapples. Oh, I've never seen a pink pineapple. Although GMOs are in a lot of foods we eat, most of the GMO crops are grown in the United States and are used for animal food. That's good to know. So most of the GMOs that are around the world are really in America, according to this is FDA.gov. So I didn't even know that. Well, I guess I kind of did. I like that. Yes, allow. All right. Although GMOs are in a lot of foods we eat, most of the GMO crops grown in the United States of America are for animal foods. Are for animal foods. Okay, that's what he's saying. All right. To make it easier for consumers to know if the foods they eat contain GMO ingredients, the U.S. Department of Agriculture maintains a list of bioengineered foods available throughout the world. Additionally, you will start seeing the bioengineered label on some of the foods we eat because of the new International Bioengineering Food Disclosure Standard. I did see on, I think, a Nature's, it was like a protein bar with peanuts, and it said this food is produced by bioengineering. And I threw it away. I think before I read the label, because I didn't think it had anything to do with bioengineering. I think I ate one, then I read the label. I said, oh shit, this product was produced by bioengineering. It literally said bioengineering. All right, so now if you're eating organic food, I don't believe. I didn't know that they had a list. So hopefully, maybe if it's easy to comprehend, we'll go through that list. Do international standard. I didn't know there was they had to tell you. Let's watch this video. I don't know how long this video is. Oh, it's not long. I mute my mic.
Down on the farm, GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. Among the GMOs available in the U.S. right now, corn, soybeans, canola, sugar beets, cotton, alfalfa, potatoes, summer squash, apples, papaya, and pink pineapple. A farm-raised Atlantic salmon and pork from a type of pig have been approved for food use, but you may not see them in the market because they are not widely available. Most GMO crops are used in food for animals, but a few fresh fruits and vegetables are available in GMO varieties, including GMO apples that don't brown as fast when you slice them, and potatoes that don't.
So, if I'm correct, let's say you eat beef or chicken that was fed food that's bioengineered, that's not considered a GMO animal, even though they're consuming GMO foods. So they don't have to list that chicken, fish, or bull or milk, cow milk, is bioengineered because they're just eating the food. So where a lot of us are eating animals that are fed bioengineered food.
Bruise so easily. Summer squash, apples that don't brown as fast when you slice them, and potatoes that don't bruise so easily. Summer squash. There's a GMO papaya and a pink pineapple, but these GMOs aren't widely available. Still, a lot of GMOs end up here, in your local grocery store, in packaged foods. GMO soy oil and protein are often used as ingredients in foods. There's even a GMO soybean specifically developed to make a healthier cooking oil. And GMO corn is often used to make cereal, crackers, and other snacks. Certain types of GMOs have a disclosure. That lets you know if the food or ingredients you are eating is a bioengineered food. Oh, and that sugar in your iced tea? There's a good chance it's from GMO sugar beets. So you see, GMOs are all around us. From farm to table, they're a big part of our food supply.
Yep, this is why you gotta read the label. You know, the government says that there's no difference between a bioengineered food and I don't believe that in non-bioengineered organic food. So I don't believe that, and because you can't beyond a shadow of a doubt prove it, I try to say you're wrong. What GMO crops are in the United States? Only a few types of GMO crops are grown in the United States, but some of these GMOs make up a large percentage of crops grown. Soybeans, I stay away from that. I really don't eat corn. Well, I don't eat corn really at all. Unless there's some kind of abstract and something I bought. I don't think so, though. Sugar beets, canola, and cotton. So probably when we buy cotton or material made of cotton from stores for garments or regular clothes, probably it's GMO. Unless they specifically market it, this is organic cotton. Like I've seen certain beds that were made of or organic Egyptian cotton or organic cotton. All right, so I'll leave this link in the description box. Is this another one? Okay, it's another video. Let's watch this.
What GMO crops are grown and sold in the U.S.? Well, there's corn, like me, soybeans, canola, sugar beets, and cotton. Typically, we're ingredients in certain foods. GMO alfalfa, corn, soybeans, canola, and cotton are used as animal food. And while you won't find many GMOs in the produce section, there are versions of GMO apple, summer squash, potato, and papaya in a few markets. Feed your mind with more GMO knowledge on FDA's website.
Okay, pretty much the same thing. What about animals that eat foods made from GMO crops? More than 95% of animals used for meat and dairy in the United States eat GMO crops. Independent studies show that there is no difference in how GMO and non-GMO foods affect the health and safety of the animals. So, I mean, are they saying that they can feed or like organic chicken and beef and I guess fish? I don't know if that can be organic, but GMO food and still considered organic? Say grass fed, is that GMO grass? Yeah, I don't know. It says it does not transfer. What the hell does that even mean? More than 95% of animals used for meat and dairy in the United States eat GMO crops. So that means you eating your animals fed by GMO crops. Independent studies show that there is no difference in how GMO and non-GMO foods affect the health and safety of animals. The DNA in the GMO foods does not transfer to the animal that eats it. What? So does the DNA from non-GMO transfer to the animal? I don't know why they said that. Are they putting other DNA? Oh, are they putting other DNAs in the vegetables, in the vegetation? Like I heard about the spider gene being in a tomato. So I think that's what they're saying. The DNA in the GMO food does not transfer to the animal that eats it. I guess that's what they're talking about because they're introducing other DNA into the plant. This means that the animals that eat GMO foods do not turn into GMOs. Yeah, so basically, we're all eating bread defiled among the Gentiles. See, it doesn't transfer, man. And remember, Esau, he also said that, we were 3/5 of a man, and that, so-called black people had smaller brains. So this is his science. And Esau can't see everything under a microscope either. Don't think that because Esau is wiser than Daniel that he can see everything there is to see. He can't. He can't even get into outer. He can't even see all of space. He can't even get to space, to outer space. All right. Even though he's very wise, he don't know everything, and he's a liar too. There was a Outer Limits episode called "The Seeds of Destruction." Matter of fact, you can look on the in the description box and watch that. On the BitChute. Send the link is in the description box. It's called "Seeds of Destruction" or "The Seeds of Destruction." It will be up simultaneously with this video. Seeds of Destruction. All right, watch that. Just imagine what that episode is about. All right. If it did, an animal would have the DNA of any food it ate. Okay, so they're saying the DNA doesn't transfer no matter if it's GMO or not. All right, just answered the question. All right, GMO or not. In other words, cows do not become grass they eat, and chickens don't become the corn they eat. Okay. All right. So if they put spider genes in the food, and so that means it doesn't become a spider. But does that DNA affect the animal? According to research, it doesn't. I don't believe that. So I will leave that there. And again, link will be in the description box. You can interpret that as you will. List of bioengineered. Okay. All right. That's simple. That's just a plant. It's just all right. Canola, apple, alfalfa, cotton, eggplant, papaya, pineapple, pink flesh, Varieties: potatoes, salmon, soybeans, squash, sugar beets. All right. Bioengineered disclosure. The U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, so that's how you pronounce it, announced the National Bioengineered Food Disclosure Standard on December 20th, 2018. The National Bioengineered Food Disclosure Law, passed by Congress in July 2016, directed the USDA to establish this national mandatory standard for disclosing foods that are or may be bioengineered. What the hell does may be bioengineered mean? It says the standard defines bioengineered foods as those that contain detectable. See, Esau says Satan right there. So it has to be detectable. So it can be a certain percentage where it's not detectable. Detectable genetic material that has been modified through certain lab techniques and cannot be created through conventional breeding or found in nature. All right, so interpret that as you will. All right, so mainly we have to worry about is the meats and that we eat that eat vegetables that are bioengineered. And it says food disclosure. So when it's in a package, they have to disclose it. But if it's the animal ate it, they don't have to disclose it. All right. Let me make sure you can see that. Disclosure. We got 21 minutes. All right. Identify crops. Agricultural marketing services develop a list of bioengineered foods to identify the crops. All right, so if it's the raw vegetable, they have to label it. But if it's in a low percentage, they don't have to label it. Where is it? The word they used? Needs contains detectable genetic material that has been modified through lab techniques. All right, so Esau's a crafty speaker. Right there. So this link will be in the description box also. All right. And this is Agricultural Marketing Service, U.S. Department of Agriculture. ams.usda.gov/rules-regulations-BE. It's bioengineering. All right, so I think I made my point. So Ezekiel 4:13, and Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I would drive them. All right. And I got one more point I wanted to bring out. Let's just add this little bonus footage. So this is bonus footage. And bonus is meaning of dung. So basically, through my research, dung means leftovers, anything that's left over. So it can include, excrements, feces from a human or an animal, or anything left over from food products, or old material, building material, anything left over. All right, and manure means to work the land to maneuver, decayed matter. All right, so that would be like compost. All right, so that's what dung goes back to. Comes decomposed matter, decayed matter, which would be like compost. All right, and we look it up in the scriptures, like muck, rubbish, dirt, wasted matter. All right, it's the meaning of dung. All right. Manure means to work the land, to maneuver. Let's pull it up. Manure. All right. To cultivate land or garden by manual labor. All right. That's what manure means, to cultivate, carry out, to make, to produce. All right. It says work the earth led to put dung and compost in the soil and treat soil with fertilizer materials, 1590. All right, so by dung here they mean excrements from an animal, if I'm not mistaken. And compost they mean discarded or leftover plant materials. They contain nutrients to help the plants grow. And since the dung is already there from the animals, they'll say recycle it and put it in the food. Not in the food, but in the soil. All right, because the farm is already smelling like shit anyway. So, but just the point is that dung doesn't necessarily mean excrements from an animal. It means that which is like left over. All right. They're saying excrements from an animal. Well, that's technically left over, right? All right. Decayed matter. All right. Now look it up in the scriptures. When Ezekiel says it, he specifically says dung, and it says from man. Dung that cometh out of man. So we know it's referring to feces. So we look up 1561. I already have that up. Galal, dung, ball of dung. Dung. All right, remember, dung just means leftovers. All right, so in this sense, we know it's referring to coming out of a man. Then he replaced it from a man to an animal. Right, and a cow. Cow's dung. So we're going to look up cow. Cow's dung. Dung of a cattle. Manure, cattle dung. Excrements. All right. So we know it's referring to animals, animal dung. Now, when you look up dunghill, all right, it's not necessarily talking about, let's say, shit. It's referring to leftovers. All right. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill. All right. So if you a beggar, you're not sitting in a pile of shit, but you sitting in a very dirty place where it's not kept up. It's go to certain parts of certain hoods. You'll see cans, potato chip bags, broken sidewalk. The buildings look run down. That's the dunghill. It's a poor state. We got Ashapath, a heap, ash heap, refuse, which is leftovers, heap, a dunghill, as in a sense of scrapping. A heap or rubbish or filth, dunghill. All right. So basically leftover materials, which can include feces. All right. But the dunghill mainly is referring to, you would say feces last. And say leftover material, rubbish, will be in the forefront. All right. Also, I have made a decree that whosoever shall alter this word, let timber be pulled down from his house, and being set up, let him be hanged thereon, and let his house be made a dunghill for this. In this respect, they're saying it's more so excrements from animals, people. We got Nawalwa. We got refused heap. So again, that's the leftovers from plants, leftover animals, but pretty much anything, like a trash bag. All right. A dunghill or an outhouse. And an outhouse is saying from excrements from a person. All right. So refused heap. So it could be anything, left over from eating or feces. All right. Let's go to, let your houses be made of dunghill. Dan told him, Father, the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. Let's see what this one says. No, well, oh, same thing, just Aramaic version. My first one may have been Aramaic also. Yeah, Aramaic. Refused heap. It meaning that, yeah, you're going to become like a refused heap, a pile of garbage, a trash bag. So anything goes in a trash bag. Now, in an ancient world, you had to throw everything out together. You just threw everything in there. Now, there was one area I was saying like something about in Nehemiah. Let's look at this. Lamentation, Nehemiah, their dung gate. The valley gate repaired Hunan, Nehemiah 3:13, and the inhabitants of Zanoah, they built it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, 1,000 cubits on the wall into the dung gate. All right, so there was an area in which they threw stuff that was refused. All right, to the dung gate. But the dung gate repaired Malchiah, the son of Rechab. All right. So it's an area of the city where they just throw, or outside the city, where they just throw whatever in it. Dung. And it's classified as dung. So dung is leftovers. That could be anything from, parts of fish, part of a animal, or feces from a human or animal. All right. And that's all thrown together. All right. So now you know what that means, what dung means and dunghill means. So Ezekiel 4:13, and Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles, whither I would drive them. All right. So we eat some pretty foul food now. All right. So you understand those things. All right. And relative, GMOs, how they handle the food and what they classify as, clean, whether it be the dates, the chemicals they use to treat it, etc. All right. So hope you edified. Shalom.